Part 2 of the Teachings for the New Golden Age by beloved Ascended Master Kuthumi, preparing teachers for the Golden Age. The Wesak Festival. I, Kuthumi Lal Singh of the province of Kashmir, where the waters are blue and the mountains most verdant, where the sheep grow the softest wool, and the song of harmony is woven into the beautiful tapestries and rugs, known and famous throughout the world, come to bring to you a slight remembrance of the beauty visited upon the planet Earth in this sacred spot. The Vale of Kashmir, even in its sound, conveys the peace that passeth the understanding of the mind. The variegated colours that only nature's grandest mountains can affect are reflected upon the still waters, and over those waters are reverberating from the hills around the chants of the Kashmir tribes who have, generation after generation, dedicated themselves to the weaving of the fine wool which is produced only in Kashmir. The great annual Wesak Festival represents the fullest outpouring of nature represented by the month of May. Since the planet Earth must be served through her natural facets at the time of year when the currents of Earth are turned outward toward manifestation, when every leaf, tree, bud and blossom is unfolding the beauty of its own heart center, the hierarchy utilizes this natural force for their greatest outpouring of nourishment to the soul and spirit of man. It was the beloved Gautama Buddha, now Lord of the world, who first joined the mighty course of the river of his life to the natural currents of earth in his visitation that first night in May. Year after year since, every member of the right way has voluntarily joined the substance and energy of his or her own life stream to increase the crescendo of spiritual overtones that flow forth at this mighty festival. The Wesak Festival is held on the day of the full moon in May. There is no outer invitation to the Wesak Festival. The light within the heart draws each wayfarer and pilgrim, both in their inner and outer bodies, to the place where it is held. There is never mention made as to the exact location where the visitation will take place. The tribes, nomads, and disciples of Lord Gautama Buddha start into motion in March and April and are led only by the prayer of their hearts, which points their feet toward the great light, which is the only magnet and invitation that can draw them without compass or guide. From China came the blessed sisters and brothers from Peking and the Order of Confucius. From Lhasa have come the delegates from the Dalai Lama. The Buddhists have come from Malaysia and India, and from the Indian temples come the Brahmins. All Asiatic countries are represented. Enthusiastic pilgrims are crossing continents without thought of time or effort. They have all entered into the heart of Kashmir. Some of them have been a month and 6 weeks en route, and they had no bridge, no outer word, no letter by which they knew this gathering was to take place. They only had the magnetic pull that they felt within their hearts. In answering that, they rose up, each one, and followed the path of the heart into this glorious vale. We took a large valley this time that we have not used before, anticipating that great numbers would be present, and already over 10,000 of the pilgrims and nomads of Asia in their physical bodies are gathered here. It is a large, round bowl-shaped valley, and the hills rise gently around it. Those of you who have been to Kashmir know the colouring of the flowers and the exquisite song of the birds that I have never seen nor heard elsewhere upon the earth. Within this environment of natural beauty, the great ones, who are the brothers of the golden robe, are playing host to those who are the teachers of the secular activities of the outer world, as well as the religious orders of every kind, orthodox and metaphysical as well. The pupils in the West, whose light is great and who are drawn by that light, and whose inner bodies are a part of the receiving as well as the outpouring of the energy, are oft times entirely unconscious of the tremendous experience which has bathed their souls in the celestial and eternal light. But they will return to their mundane tasks and duties, greatly enriched by their experience. As Lord Maitreya spoke to the disciples this evening, I am sure their hearts were filled with the love that was within his words. The beloved Lord Buddha, early this morning, took his place on the elevation which faces east, so that all of the disciples looking toward the individual who is officiating might have the blessing of the Eastern light. Lord Buddha, in his outpouring, spoke no words. He just made visible the outpouring from the great central sun which, anchored within his own ascended master body, looks very similar to the stream of light from your presence into your head and heart. In the case of the ascended being, the connection is from the central sun behind the sun, and, of course, it is very much wider and enfolds the entire ascended master body and the aura as well. The beloved Buddha's aura is larger than our entire planet, and as he opened the inner sight of all the pilgrims, they could see those lotus flames flowing down from the sun into his being and then outward into the world. That is the blessing which a celestial one brings when he descends below the octave in which he normally abides. Do you see, when an ascended master or a cosmic being, like the Buddha, rises into the higher octaves, the periphery of the outpouring which forms his individual cord of light, connecting with the central sun, ends in the sphere in which he abides, and descends no lower. It flows out and fills that sphere and returns again into the heart of God. But as that being descends through sphere after sphere and enters the lower atmosphere of earth, then the outpouring from his tube of light and his own silver cord, you might call it, becomes worldwide. And those celestial lotus flower vibrations just flow forth and permeate the lower atmosphere. As each one looked at that great cord of light representing the life stream of Buddha, the Cheela's life streams and cords of light began to expand too, and to enfold their physical forms. Thus, by example and radiation, everyone watching the Lord Buddha accomplished the same thing. At the close of his service, the Lord Buddha returned into the invisible, and the beloved Lord Maitreya gave a worded expression of love to the shepherds, and his devotion to the soul light would melt the heart of a stone. He spoke of the tenderness which a shepherd of the human race should have for the soul of man, for the delicate petals that are awakening from the soul sleep of the ages, and which respond to kindness, to love, to understanding, and to compassion, and which can be shriveled by the wrong consciousness and attitude of those who have been entrusted with their care and development. As he spoke, he individualized an innocent soul who belongs to the orthodox world and showed the tiny white soul light like a small, tight white rose within the heart. Then he individualized a beloved minister who is presently embodied and showed the love and light from the emotional body of the minister pouring into that tight bud, and how the little soul began to respond tenderly, timidly, uncertainly at first, and then, as the strength of the brother of the golden robe, who was guarding the minister, intensified the compassion and the wisdom through that man, the little soul received enough strength to become an active servant in that church. Lord Maitreya then drew a curtain over that example and rendered us another service by showing another minister with a life stream, strong, vigorous and powerful, but who yet thought of self more than the budding soul, and how that strong and dominant, overbearing personality of the would-be shepherd just closed to the light of that young soul and caused the spiritual endeavour of the little soul to cease for that entire embodiment. These word pictures are beautiful. They are descriptive, and they show you, who are our hope, how important it is to be careful of the light in the hearts of those who will come to you by hundreds and in thousands. We hope we can find among you those who love God enough and your fellow man to choose to bring light, understanding, confidence, faith, and hope to the hearts that are bewildered and in spiritual agony and pain. Tonight, as you accept the light in the heart of Kashmir and accept my own love, remember, I am no farther from you than your call. I am willing and more than eager to assist you, and I am desirous of giving my love through your life stream to the people of earth. Saint Teresa said, "You will remember that Christ had no hands on earth to bless but hers, no eyes through whom to see, no lips through whom to speak, no feet through whom to carry the message of God, but hers, and I say to you the same." Lord Maitreya, the Christ of the universe, Lord Buddha, the heart of love, and my humble self, have but your bodies, your feelings, your desires, through which we may reach mankind. We stand in the heart of freedom. We stand in the realm of truth, and our hands are stretched out to mankind who do not even know we exist. They do not know that we have being, but you do. And through you, each one who is a bridge from the human to the divine, through you can we reach the mankind of this earth and bring them back to the understanding by which they may set their feet upon the path and return home. The path lies open before them. Their presence stands at the end of the way. But there must be those among the sons of men to point that way and to stand by in rough times, to encourage them by love, to encourage them by light, and to give them the impetus of example and manifest works, until they come to a point of enthusiasm in themselves and they become, like you, their brother's keepers. Beloved hearts, I thank you with all my own fully gathered momentum for even a mental acceptance of the brotherhood. I thank you for even a passing interest in our work and service, and I plead with you that, in the silent time of your own prayers and meditation, you may ask the voice of your own presence if it would not be a kindness to life for you to incorporate your energy in unfolding the soul light in those men and women whom life will draw about you if you so dedicate yourself to service. I ask you now to so consecrate your life energy after thought and consideration, not in a wild burst of enthusiasm, which dies down like the fires that are made of the hay from the field, but in that steady, constant flow of love that passes through every experience untouched with but one thought, to carry the cup of comfort and to not spill a drop of the sacred essence until it has reached the lips of the thirsty, until it has filled the soul with that same hunger and thirst after righteousness, which will not let that soul sleep until it has become the fullness of its own God self. When you can so infect the consciousness of mankind with that realization and desire for mastery, then you have become ourselves in action.